My sister's son took my $3,200 laptop outside and smashed it on the driveway while everyone watched. "Buy another one, loser," he said. I didn't say a word. That evening, Dad texted, "We don't want you around us anymore." My sister liked it. By 7:10 a.m., Dad was pounding on my door after one video from the driveway appeared in the family group chat. The laptop screen was still warm when I closed the lid. The progress bar on the final upload had reached 97%, 3 minutes from completion, when my 14-year-old nephew appeared at the edge of the patio table and everything I had built over 7 years started its countdown to 0. My name is Heath Overton. I am 34 years old. I run a one-man consulting business out of a 2-bedroom apartment. Websites, networks, security systems, cloud infrastructure, 12 active clients who pay on time and say thank you. My entire office lives inside a $3,200 laptop with a cracked hinge and a small vinyl butterfly sticker on the lid. My mother pressed that sticker onto my first work laptop the day I started freelancing. She smoothed it down with her thumb and said one word: fly. 3 years later, she was gone. Heart failure at 59. Every time I upgrade machines, I peel the sticker off the old one and transfer it to the new one. It has survived 4 laptops, 2 apartment moves, and a coffee spill that killed the trackpad. It is the only thing my mother left me that nobody else wanted. I was at my father's house for a Sunday gathering. Dennis Overton, 62, owner of Overton Lawn Care, a 3-truck operation that mowed residential lawns across 2 zip codes. My sister Valerie Thorne was 38, married to a long-haul trucker named Ty who was on the road more weeks than he was home. Their son Zane was 14. Tall for his age, loud in the way kids get loud when nobody has ever told them to lower their voice, and completely unsupervised in the way that happens when one parent is always driving and the other believes discipline is someone else's job. My Aunt Phyllis, my father's sister, had called it years ago. Valerie treats that boy like a roommate, not a son. He will break something expensive one day, and she will blame whoever owned it. Phyllis was not at the gathering. She would have stopped what happened next. She always stopped what happened next. But she had stopped coming to Dennis's house after the last Thanksgiving, when Valerie told her that her cobbler tasted like cardboard, and my father laughed instead of correcting his daughter. I had not been invited to the gathering. I had been told. My father called Thursday night and said, "Sunday at 2. Bring something." The tone was the same tone he used when he needed his Wi-Fi reset, or his printer reconnected, or his email password recovered for the 4th time in a year. I was not family at those gatherings. I was tech support who also brought potato salad. I came anyway because the table in my father's kitchen was the table where my mother used to sit, and sometimes, if I sat in the right chair at the right angle, the kitchen still smelled like her coffee. I mentioned the driveway security camera because it matters. I had installed it above the garage door 2 years ago on a Saturday afternoon. Ran the cable myself, drilled the mount, configured the cloud backup, set the motion alerts, and showed my father how to check the feed on his phone. He watched me do it, nodded once, and never opened the app again. The camera recorded in 1080p with audio. It uploaded continuously to a cloud server that I administered. My login, my password, my storage plan that I paid $24 a month for. My father did not know the password. He did not know the login. He barely knew the camera was there. That was fine with me. Some things work best when nobody thinks about them. The gathering was already tense before Zane touched the laptop. Valerie had arrived first, which she always did, because arriving first meant she controlled the kitchen, the seating arrangement, and the version of every conversation that happened before anyone else showed up. By the time I walked in at 2:15, she had already told my father that I had been too busy with my little computer thing to visit last weekend. I had been too busy. I was deploying a client-server migration that took 48 hours of monitoring. But Valerie did not say that. She said his little computer thing, and my father repeated it when I walked in. Too busy with the computer again? I did not correct him. I never corrected him. That was my mistake and my pattern, and the thing that let all of this happen for as long as it did. The sticker caught the afternoon light as I worked at the patio table. The butterfly's wings were faded from 7 years of heat cycles, but the outline was still sharp. Purple vinyl on silver aluminum. My mother picked that sticker from a sheet at a craft store the day before my first client meeting. She did not pick the biggest one or the flashiest one. She picked the butterfly because, she said, it was the only thing on the sheet that had to earn its wings. I think about that sentence more than I think about most things people have said to me. Zane walked around the patio table and stood next to me. I was checking the upload. 98%. Can I see something on your laptop? He said. Not right now, Zane. 1 minute. He picked it up. Both hands. Screen still open, progress bar still moving. He turned and walked across the patio toward the driveway. My hands came off the table. I stood. Zane, put it down. He did not stop. He did not look back. Valerie was standing in the front doorway with her arms crossed. She was watching. Not alarmed, not moving. Smiling, the kind of smile that has nothing to do with amusement and everything to do with something landing exactly where it was aimed. My father was on the porch with a glass of iced tea. His free hand was in his pocket. He watched Zane carry the laptop down the porch steps and across the driveway the way he watched most things in his house. From a distance, with permission already granted through silence. Zane stopped in the center of the driveway. He raised my laptop above his head with both hands, the way you raise a rock before you throw it into a lake, and he brought it down onto the concrete. The screen shattered first. Then the casing split along the hinge I had been meaning to replace. The battery popped loose and skidded 2 feet across the asphalt. A piece of the keyboard broke off and landed near the mailbox post. The butterfly sticker was still attached to the cracked lid, one corner peeling up from the impact, the purple catching the sunlight at the wrong angle. Zane turned to me. He was grinning. The grin of a kid who has just done exactly what he was told to do and expects to be rewarded for it. Buy another one, loser, he said. Valerie laughed from the doorway. Not a surprise laugh, a satisfied one. She looked at me across the driveway and said the words she had been rehearsing in some version for years. You sit in your apartment talking to a screen and call it a career. Mom babied you until the day she died, and you still cannot show up to a family dinner without dragging your little office along. No wife. No kids. No friends who are not paying you by the hour. Without that laptop, you are nothing, Heath. Absolutely nothing. 6 targets. My profession, my apartment, my mother, my loneliness, my social life, and my identity. All specific. All delivered in front of her son and our father, neither of whom said a word to stop her. My father sipped his tea. I stood on the patio for 8 seconds. The math ran itself in those seconds. Every password, every service, every monthly payment, every free hour I had spent keeping the lights on in a house that had just smashed the tool I used to do it. The total arrived before the anger did. I picked up my keys. I walked to my car. I sat behind the wheel for a full minute before I started the engine. My hands were on the steering wheel, but I was not driving yet. I was looking at the driveway through the windshield. The broken pieces of keyboard were still scattered on the concrete. The cracked lid with the butterfly sticker was resting against the curb. Valerie was still in the doorway. She had not moved. My father was still on the porch with his tea. Nobody had picked up a single piece. Nobody had said stop. Nobody had said sorry. Nobody had said anything at all except, buy another one, loser, and you are nothing. I drove home. 22 minutes. I did not turn on the radio. I did not call anyone. The silence in the car was not empty. It was full of numbers. 3 years of monthly payments. 5 years of free website maintenance. 18 months of an unpaid loan. $3,200 in destroyed equipment. The math kept running even after I parked and walked upstairs and sat on my couch in an apartment that was quiet in a way that my father's house never was. Quiet because nobody here was performing. Quiet because nobody here was breaking anything. That evening, at 6:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from my father. We don't want you around us anymore. You upset Valerie, and you upset Zane. Stay away until you learn how to be part of this family. Below the text and notification, Valerie Thorne liked this message. If you have ever been discarded by the people who were supposed to protect you and felt the strange calm that comes when the last thread finally snaps, stay with Karma Unfolded, because what happened next started with one security camera and ended with every lock in that house changing overnight. I sat in my apartment and did not respond to the text. Instead, I opened the camera app on my tablet, navigated to the driveway feed, and scrubbed to 3:14 p.m. The camera had a wide-angle lens. It captured the entire driveway, half the porch, and the front doorway. The microphone picked up conversation within 40 feet. My father had asked for that feature because he wanted to hear if someone knocked. He forgot I was the one who could access the recordings. I scrubbed to 3:12 p.m., 2 minutes before Zane came outside. The audio picked up Valerie's voice from the doorway. Clear, close to the mic. Take it outside and break it. On the concrete. He needs to learn he is nothing without that thing. Zane's voice, quieter. What if he gets mad? He will not do anything. He never does. Premeditated, my sister had instructed her 14-year-old son to destroy my property. She had planned the moment, chosen the location, and predicted my silence correctly because I had given her 34 years of silence to base that prediction on. She had used her own child as a weapon and called it family business. I played the clip 3 times. On the third pass, I noticed something I had missed. My father was visible on the porch for the entire sequence. The camera's frame caught him clearly. He was already holding his tea when Valerie spoke. His head turned slightly toward her voice. He heard the instruction. He heard the word break. He heard the word concrete. And then he watched Zane carry my laptop across the driveway, and he did not lower his glass, and he did not raise his voice, and he did not move his feet. He already knew. My father already knew, and his response was to stand there and watch. I almost deleted the footage. My thumb was on the trash icon, and something in my chest said let it go. Let them have the version of this where they are right and you are dramatic and everything is your fault for bringing the laptop. Then the sticker's scuffed corner caught the lamplight from inside my wallet on the desk. Purple vinyl. Faded, still flying. My mother had never deleted anything that mattered. She had kept every birthday card I made her from age 5 to 27. She had kept the receipt from my first freelance payment, $340 for a logo redesign, taped to the inside of her medicine cabinet. She kept things because keeping was how she loved. I would not delete this. Not for them. Not for anyone. Monday morning, 6 a.m. I drove back to my father's house while everyone was still asleep. The driveway was exactly as I had left it. Pieces of keyboard near the mailbox, shattered screen glass catching the early light, the cracked lid sitting against the curb where someone had kicked it. Nobody had cleaned it up. Nobody had swept the concrete. The spot where the laptop hit had a starburst crack in the asphalt, new and sharp. 24 hours, and my family had walked past the wreckage of my career without bending down once. I crouched next to the lid and peeled the butterfly sticker off. Carefully, starting from the scuffed corner, working my thumb under the vinyl the way my mother had pressed it on 7 years ago. In her kitchen, with a coffee mug in her other hand and a look on her face like she was giving me something she had been saving. The sticker came up intact, every edge held. I pressed it between my fingers, folded it into a square of wax paper I had brought from home, and put it in my wallet. Then I drove home and opened my management console. Every service I had been maintaining for my father's household, free of charge, for 3 years. Internet plan, $89 per month. 3 streaming subscriptions, $47. His cell phone line on my family plan, $65. Security cameras and cloud storage, $24. Family photo cloud with 400 gigabytes of memories going back to Joan's last Christmas, $15. Hosting and maintenance for the Overton Lawn Care website, $38. Total monthly, $278. Over 36 months, $10,008. That $278 was invisible to my father. He never saw a bill. He never received a notification. The Wi-Fi worked. The cameras recorded. The website booked appointments. He thought these things happened by themselves, the way weather happens without anyone doing the work behind it. Add the website I built from scratch 5 years ago. Service menu, booking system, customer reviews, payment portal. Market value of a comparable build, $6,000. I charged nothing. My father said, "It is just a website, how long could it take?" It took 3 weeks of evenings and a full weekend. Add the $4,800 Valerie borrowed 18 months ago. She said it was for Zane's braces. I transferred it the same day because she said the orthodontist needed a deposit by Friday. Zane's teeth looked exactly the same 18 months later. When I brought it up at Christmas, she said, it went to other things. You know how kids are. That was the entire conversation. Total financial support I had quietly provided to a family that just told me to stay away. Over $20,000. My father's business website was the first service I touched that morning. Before taking it offline, I checked the contact form logs. A routine check I had not done in months because the site ran cleanly, and I trusted the system. There was a redirect rule in the form handler that I did not write. Every inquiry submitted through the site's request a quote page had been forwarding to a phone number I did not recognize. I ran the number through my contacts and through a reverse lookup. Valerie's cell phone. The logs went back 6 months, 14 inquiries total. Valerie responded to 3 from homeowners asking about lawn service with one-line replies. We are not accepting new clients at this time. 11 went unanswered. But 4 of the 14 were not for Overton Lawn Care at all. They were from people who found my freelance profile linked at the bottom of the site and clicked contact. They were trying to hire me. For at work. For the thing my sister said was not a real career. Valerie responded to one of those 4. Heath Overton is no longer accepting clients. Thank you. She deleted the other 3 without replying. 4 potential clients. Potential lost revenue based on my average contract size, $9,000. My attorney said the court might not award all of it, but it belonged in the demand. My sister had not just destroyed my laptop. She had been sabotaging my livelihood for 6 months from inside a system I built for her father for free. I almost called her. The number was on my screen and the words were already forming, and then I looked at the redirect logs again and saw the dates. She had started intercepting inquiries 2 weeks after our mother's memorial service. 2 weeks. The flowers were still wilting on Joan's kitchen counter, and Valerie was already rerouting my clients. I closed the contact form. I exported the server logs, the redirect rule, the timestamps, and the forwarded message records before changing anything. Then I took the Overton Lawn Care website offline at 6:15 a.m., the domain, hosting account, and payment portal were all registered in my name because Dennis never wanted to deal with computer stuff. There was no service agreement, no payment, no transfer of ownership. Every page now returned a simple message, this site is currently unavailable. Then I changed every password in sequence. Wi-Fi router, new credentials, new network name. Every connected device in my father's house dropped within 30 seconds. Streaming subscriptions canceled, all 3 platforms. Phone plan, I submitted a port-out request for my father's line and emailed him the transfer instructions. If he wanted to keep the number, he could set up his own plan before the deadline. I was not cutting emergency access. I was handing back a bill he never knew I was paying. Security cameras, cloud login changed. The cameras would continue recording to a server only I could access. Family photo cloud, I exported a full archive of every photo to an encrypted backup drive before changing the password. The photos were safe. I told Aunt Phyllis copies were available to anyone who wanted them. What I revoked was admin access to a storage plan I paid $15 a month for. Every service I had been paying for went dark. Every door I had kept open was now locked with a credential only I held. The apartment was quiet. The tablet screen glowed. I had not raised my voice. I had not typed a single angry message. I had simply stopped doing the thing nobody noticed I was doing, and the absence of it was about to echo through every room in my father's house. At 6:45 a.m., I opened the extended family group chat. 31 members. I did not post the footage publicly. Everyone in that chat had spent years hearing Valerie's version of me, and every face in the video belonged to people already inside the family. I uploaded the driveway camera footage. 1 minute and 47 seconds. Full audio. No caption. No explanation. Just the video and the send button. Then I made coffee and waited. If you are still here and you think a smashed laptop is just a laptop, stay with Karma Unfolded because the confrontation landed 25 minutes after I pressed send. By 6:52, the replies started. The group chat became a courtroom that nobody asked for and nobody could leave. Uncle Wayne was first. Dennis, what am I watching? Is that your driveway? Aunt Phyllis, 11 seconds later, I can hear her voice. She told that boy to break it. That is Valerie saying the words. Cousin Megan. Valerie said what? She told Zane to smash Heath's laptop? On purpose? Uncle Wayne again, Dennis. I watched this twice. Your daughter orchestrated the destruction of your son's work computer, and you stood on the porch and watched. I need you to answer for this. Cousin Tyler, the audio is clear. She says take it outside and break it. There is no misunderstanding that. Aunt Phyllis, that boy is 14. She used him. She used her own child to do it. Dennis did not reply. Valerie did not reply. 17 messages arrived in 20 minutes. Every single one was a question or a condemnation directed at Dennis and Valerie. Not one person asked what Heath had done to deserve it. Not one person said it was just a laptop. Not one person sided with the family that had smashed it. Dennis's phone was buzzing so fast that he turned it face down on the table at 7:03 a.m., which is how I knew he had already seen the messages by the time he arrived at my door 7 minutes later. At 7:10 a.m., 3 heavy knocks hit my apartment door. Then 3 more. Heath, open the door. Right now. My father, standing in the hallway at 7:10 in the morning because his website was down, his Wi-Fi was dead, his cameras were offline, his phone service was about to be cut, and 31 family members had just watched his daughter order a 14-year-old to smash $3,200 of equipment while he stood on the porch holding iced tea. I opened the door. He walked in without waiting. His face was tight. His breathing was short. His phone was in his hand like a weapon he did not know how to use. The website is down. The booking system is not sending reminders. Mac called at 6. The payment portal is frozen, and 3 customers are showing up this morning with nowhere to go. Fix it. Fix it now. Sit down, Dad. I don't have time to sit down. I have 3 jobs scheduled before noon, and my clients cannot even find the address because the booking confirmations did not go out. Sit down. He sat. On the arm of my couch, uninvited, the same way he had stood on his porch uninvited while his grandson destroyed my work. I picked up my tablet from the desk. I opened the camera footage. I pressed play. His own silence filled the apartment first. The footage showed the porch, the driveway, the doorway. Valerie's voice came through clearly. Take it outside and break it. On the concrete. My father's face went through 5 things in 10 seconds. His mouth opened and closed without sound. His right hand dropped and gripped the hem of his jacket. He stepped backward and his heel hit the baseboard. His breathing turned shallow, audible through his nose. Then he lowered himself onto the arm of my couch without asking, because his knees had already made the decision. The footage kept playing. Zane raising the laptop overhead. The smash. The battery skidding. Buy another one, loser, Valerie's satisfied laugh. And Dennis Overton, framed in 1080p. Standing on his own porch with condensation running down his glass, doing nothing. That was not how it looked, he said. That is exactly how it looked. That is how it looked to me, to Zane, to Valerie, and to 31 people who just watched it in the group chat. Valerie said Zane was playing around. Play the audio again, Dad. She said, take it outside and break it. She said, on the concrete. She used those words. And you heard them from the porch, and did not put your glass down. He stared at his phone. Uncle Wayne's message was still on the screen, Dennis. I watched that video 3 times. You need to answer for this. You watched your grandson destroy $3,200 of my equipment on your driveway and did not move, I said. Your daughter told him to do it. The camera caught her saying it. She has been redirecting client inquiries from your website to her own phone for 6 months, costing me an estimated $9,000 in potential lost contracts. She borrowed $4,800 from me for braces Zane never got. I have been paying $278 a month for your internet, phone, streaming, and cameras for 3 years. That is $10,008 you never once asked about and never once acknowledged. The police report for criminal property destruction was filed last night. The small claims petition goes in this morning, and the demand letter for Valerie's $4,800 goes certified today. You are overreacting, he said. His voice was smaller now. This is family. We do not sue family. You texted me last night that you do not want me around. Valerie liked it. I am giving you exactly what you asked for. That text was Valerie's idea. She was upset. She said you ruined the gathering. I ruined the gathering. I was sitting at a table doing my work. Your daughter told her son to carry my laptop into the driveway and smash it. She planned it. She said the words, and your contribution was to stand on the porch and drink your tea. I did not know she told him to do it. You are on camera, Dad. You can hear her from where you are standing. Your head turns. You heard the word break. You heard the word concrete. You watched your 14-year-old grandson lift my laptop over his head and throw it, and you did not put your glass down. You did not open your mouth. You did not take a single step. He looked at the floor. His hands were flat on his thighs, and his fingers were pressing hard enough to whiten at the tips. Your daughter said, I am nothing without that laptop. Here is what your house looks like without my work. No Wi-Fi. No website. No booking system. No cameras. No streaming. No phone service by end of today. I paid for all of it. I built all of it. And I have been the invisible floor under your entire life for 3 years, and you never noticed, because noticing would have meant saying thank you. And Overton men do not say thank you. They say bring something and fix it, and we do not want you around. He tried 3 more things in rapid succession. First, he asked me to turn the website back on. Just the website. Just long enough to get through the week. I said no. Then he asked me to at least reset the Wi-Fi password so he could work from home. I said no. Then he asked how much money it would take to make the whole thing disappear. $3,200 for the laptop. $5,600 for the small claims filing, including estimated project delays. $4,800 for the loan Valerie never repaid. $10,008 for 3 years of monthly services. $9,000 in revenue your daughter intercepted from my clients. And 1 written apology from Valerie, posted in the group chat, where 31 people can read it the same way they watched that video. He stood up slowly. Valerie will never do that. Then Valerie will hear from the court. That driveway camera caught everything, Dad. I installed it for you 2 years ago. For free. The way I built your website for free. The way I paid your bills for free. The way I showed up every Sunday and sat at Mom's table and pretended this family was something that stopped being the day she died. He walked out of my apartment. He did not close the door behind him. I closed it myself. Then I sat on the couch where he had been sitting, and I looked at my hands, and I noticed they were steady. Not shaking. Not clenched. Steady for the first time in years, the weight of carrying something nobody acknowledged had been set down, and my arms did not know what to do with the emptiness. The next day, my father tried something I did not expect. He called Franklin Parr, my longest client. My father found Franklin's number on an old invoice taped to his refrigerator and called him and said, "You know Heath. Talk to him. He is destroying this family over a computer." Franklin called me that evening. He sounded the way Franklin always sounded, when something was wrong, calm, measured, and slightly angry underneath. He told me what Dennis said. Then he told me what he told Dennis. I said, your son has been running your business website for 5 years without a paycheck. I said, any client of mine who destroyed their consultant's equipment and then demanded they keep working would not have a consultant by sunrise. And I said, if you want to fix this, start by watching that video again and asking yourself why you did not put down your iced tea. Franklin paused. What do you want me to tell him? Tell him the video already played. There is nothing left to talk about. I almost let the whole thing fade into silence. The version where I change the passwords and walk away and never say the words out loud. Then Franklin said something I did not expect. Your mother would be proud of that sticker, Heath. She would be proud it survived. I am done, I said the next time my father's number appeared on my screen. Done paying for your internet, your cameras, your website, and your quiet. Done driving an hour to fix what you could Google in 5 minutes. Do not text me. Do not send anyone to my apartment. The next communication from me will come through the court. Dennis tried to rebuild the website himself. He sat at his kitchen table with his business partner Mac on speakerphone, and they spent 3 hours entering passwords. Dennis typed password 1 and Overton 2023 and lawn care and Dennis 62 and Joan 59. None of them opened anything. The Wi-Fi was dead, so Dennis used his neighbor's signal, sitting near the front window where it barely reached. Mac called a local IT company. The woman who answered asked what platform the site was built on. Dennis did not know. She asked for the hosting login. Dennis did not have it. The quote to rebuild from scratch, $3,800. Mac drove to Dennis's house that afternoon. He sat across the kitchen table and said, your son built this for free. He maintained it for 5 years. He paid the hosting bill every month. Your daughter had her kid smash his computer on the driveway, and you stood there watching. And now you want me to split $3,800 to replace what you had for nothing. He paused. I need to think about whether I want my name attached to this. 3 customers left 1-star Google reviews that week. 2 canceled recurring lawn contracts. The payment portal stayed frozen for 11 days. Dennis lost an estimated $2,300 in pending invoices the system could no longer process. He ported his phone to a new carrier that week, paying for his own plan for the first time in 3 years. Valerie's fallout arrived in smaller cuts, each one a door closing that she did not hear until she tried to walk through it. Mrs. Corbin, a neighbor 3 houses down whose small bakery website I also maintained, texted Valerie the following week. I saw the video in the group chat. Valerie, someone shared it in the neighborhood thread too. My daughter will not be riding with Zane to school anymore. Valerie replied with 3 question marks. Mrs. Corbin did not respond. 2 weeks later, the spring block party flyer arrived in mailboxes up and down the street. Valerie's name had been on the volunteer planning committee for 4 years. She had organized the dessert table every spring. Her name was not on this flyer. Nobody called to tell her it was removed. Nobody texted an explanation. She found out standing at her own mailbox in the early afternoon, reading a list of names that included every other woman on the street and excluded her. She called the committee chair. The chair said, "We decided to go in a different direction this year, Valerie." That was all she said. Valerie stood at the mailbox for a long time after hanging up, holding a flyer for a party she would not be attending in a neighborhood that had watched her son smash her brother's career on a driveway. 3 weeks after the driveway, Aunt Phyllis called me. She said Valerie had called her crying because she could not access the family photo cloud. She wanted a picture of our mother from 2 Christmases ago. Joan in her red sweater, standing by the tree, holding a ceramic mug with both hands, her reading glasses pushed up onto her forehead. Phyllis told me Valerie tried every old password, tried the backup email, tried the recovery number. Nothing worked. She sat at her kitchen table for a long time, staring at a login screen that would not open. The photos were safe. I had backed them up to a separate encrypted drive the week Joan died, before anyone else thought to ask where the originals lived. I did not delete a single photo. I exported a full archive and told Aunt Phyllis she could share copies with anyone who asked. What I revoked was administrator access to storage I paid for. Some things you protect without announcing it. Some things you protect because the people who should have protected them were too busy breaking something else on a driveway while drinking iced tea. I had filed the police report Sunday evening before I touched a single password. Criminal property destruction. $3,200 in documented damage to a work laptop containing active client files. Zane was named as the minor who physically destroyed the equipment. Valerie was named as the adult who instructed him on camera. The officer reviewed the security footage in his cruiser, made 2 notes and said, "The audio is clear." Zane broke the laptop. Valerie built the moment. The small claims petition went in Tuesday within the county limit. Laptop replacement plus documented project delay, $5,600. The $4,800 unpaid loan went in a separate certified demand letter shipped Wednesday morning. 1 month later. My apartment, a new 27-inch monitor sits on the desk, bought with the first partial reimbursement from my business equipment policy after I submitted the police report and damaged photos. The butterfly sticker is pressed onto the bottom right corner of the screen. Purple vinyl, slightly scuffed, one corner faded from 7 years and 4 laptops and 1 driveway. Still intact, still where my mother put it, in every version that matters. My father's house looks different now, even though nothing inside it has physically moved. The Wi-Fi router blinks on and off because nobody has reset it properly, and nobody knows the new admin credentials. Dennis bought a new router from the hardware store and spent 2 evenings trying to configure it before giving up and paying his neighbor's teenage son $60 to set it up. The driveway security cameras show a spinning wheel on the hallway monitor that nobody has turned off. The Overton Lawn Care website loads a default hosting page that says, "This domain is parked in gray text on a white background." After I transferred the domain to Mac at his request, he paid the $3,800 to a new IT company and had a basic site rebuilt on it without the booking system, without the customer reviews, and without the payment portal that I had built over 3 weekends 5 years ago. It looks like a template because it is. The driveway has a starburst crack in the concrete where the laptop hit. 2 months later, a piece of keyboard plastic is still wedged between the mailbox post and the curb. Nobody has picked it up. My desk has Franklin's latest invoice open in one tab and a new client onboarding form loading in another. The lamp is on. The apartment is quiet in the way I used to mistake for loneliness before I understood that loneliness is sitting at a table full of people who see you as a service they can cancel. This quiet is just a room where nobody is taking anything. Franklin sent a text last week, not about work. 3 words, "Sticker still flying?" I replied, "Always. Nobody is pounding on my door. Nobody is texting me to stay away. Nobody is smashing anything I built because they could not stand watching me build it." The monitor glows. The sticker holds. My mother said fly. And I did. And the work continues for people who understand what it costs to build something and what it means to break it. If this story reminded you that the people who call you nothing are usually the ones standing on everything you built, and that silence is not weakness when you are the one who holds every password, subscribe to Karma Unfolded. I will see you in the next one.